Hey ladies and gentlemen, Steven here from Redolessence. Welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you're all doing great. And in today's episode, I'm going to be going over 10 of the longest lasting citrus fragrances that I have in my collection. I'm very excited to share my list with you, so make sure to stay tuned. Before I begin this video of my top 10 longest lasting citrus fragrances slash perfumes that I have in my collection that also happen to be available at Scentsplit.com, I do want to mention that if you are a fan of fragrance related content, if you like top 10 videos just like this, but also giveaways, unboxing, special guests, and more, please do consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. And if you can give this video a thumbs up, it would help out tremendously for the YouTube algorithm. So with that being said, I do want to mention that there are a few criteria that I was looking for in terms of a long-lasting citrus fragrance. I want a fragrance that lasts on my skin at least 7 or 8 hours. I know in this world, in today's world, I should say, we have a lot of fragrances that last 4, 5, 6 hours, then they sort of disappear. So in terms of a summer-oriented citrus fragrance, I was looking for something that lasted at least 8 hours on my skin. And I feel like these fragrances do it for a number of different reasons. One, they have a lot of base-heavy ingredients that are used as fixatives that prolong the life or the longevity of the perfume. But then there are also some other fresh ingredients in there, like clean vetiver or maybe some clean florals that sort of prolong that fresh sensation that you get from the fragrance. And so even though those volatile citrus notes may have dissipated after 15 or 20 minutes, you still get like the clean vetiver, the clean florals, or maybe some ambroxan or some fresh base notes that still give it the impression of citrus, even though the citrus notes themselves, maybe they've already evaporated. But with that being said, these are great citrus fragrances that I think would be a stunning addition to your collection if indeed you are a collector. And all of these fragrances may be purchased or sampled at Scentsplit.com, 100% authentic decants. You can choose the size that you want, super fast shipping, great customer service. All of the information is going to be down below if you are interested in discovering any of these fragrances. So with that being said, let's start things off with one of my favorites. This is tried and true, Un Jardin sur le Nil by Hermes. So this name translates to a garden on the Nile, and it's very vegetal. Of course, it's citrusy, given the title of this video, but it also has this mango note in here, and I feel like that makes it unique. It adds this really sort of unripened quality about the fragrance. It's not like juicy or bursting at the seams. It's not sweet in any way. It just kind of gives it this aromatic vegetal sort of a vibe where you can get these grassy accents, you can get that robust citrus in the opening, but you also get nuances of the mango in there, which I think is really interesting. The next fragrance that I want to talk about is by Tom Ford. This one is called Costa Atsura. Now, it is part of the signature line. However, if you go on Scentsplit, I think they have the private blend, which is an older bottle, so you're probably going to get something stronger if indeed they are decanting the private blend. But this one is an awesome combination of citrus. I've said this on camera 100 times before. Kind of reminds me of Calvin Klein's Crave, which is a very nostalgic scent for me. And so I love wearing this for that reason. Just puts me in that mindset of, you know, that fragrance that I was wearing in 2003. I have a lot of really good memories associated with it in a world where I had much less stress in my life, right? So the next fragrance is Oud Overdose by Xerjoff. So this is part of the Shooting Stars collection. Of course, the original Oud is going to give you a lot of citrus as well. But I just feel like with Oud Overdose, which, believe it or not, is a tobacco scent, it combines citrus with tobacco. And so this is a fresher interpretation of that note being tobacco, which I think if you try it in other fragrances like Tobacco Vanille by Tom Ford or even Bois d'Ambry by Eau de Thalie, you'll notice that it's a very dark sort of ingredient, but the fact that they managed to freshen it up with this fragrance, but also make it last a really, really long time, in my opinion, is very impressive. And I think it speaks to the craftsmanship of the brand of Xerjoff. The next fragrance is one that I directly worked on, and by Navitus Parfums. This one is called Navus. So actually same perfumer as a lot of Xerjoff creations, which is Chris Maurice. So this one has a lot of grapefruit. I promise I didn't do this on purpose, but there are a lot of grapefruit fragrances in this list. Something about the note of grapefruit just makes this tart quality noticeable even several hours into the dry down. But this one is grapefruit and clean vetiver. The name Navus means energy. So I was going with something energetic, something very bright, vibrant, vivacious, something full of life. And this is one of my favorite fragrances. Truth be told, this is my third bottle, not including the mod bottles that were sent from the factory that I completely depleted. And so, awesome fragrance. I personally love this one. Oswald exclusive as well. All of the information is going to be down below. The next one that I want to talk about is by BDK Parfums, and this one is called Citrus Riviera. Now with Citrus Riviera, you have this aromatic quality in there as well, very similar to Un Jardin sur le Nil. Totally different fragrance. I would actually compare this one to Mandarino di Amalfi by Tom Ford, which has a shiso note, which is related to basil. And this one kind of has that shiso culinary quality about it. It has the aromatic properties, but it also has a ton of citrus in the opening, which is prolonged on account of those other fresh notes that are residing in the heart and in the base. Citrus Riviera is an awesome fragrance, and now is absolutely the best time to wear it. Of course, it has a cousin, which is Celle d'Argent, also by BDK Parfums. If you're looking for something on the salty, kind of vetiver side, even though I don't think it contains vetiver in the note breakdown, check out Celle d'Argent. Citrus Riviera is awesome though. And then we have a fragrance by Floraiku. This is actually a tea-based fragrance, but there's grapefruit in the opening, so this is the second grapefruit fragrance I'm talking about. And this one is called Between Two Trees. And so this is a very calm, grounding, slightly earthy and meditative fragrance. It conveys a serene quality, which I think a lot of Floraiku fragrances do. I think there's like 3 that contain tea in them. And it's a beautiful note if it's utilized in that fresh way. And I think that this one really succeeds at doing that. So it has that tart grapefruit note in the opening. It has that, I think it's mate in the heart. I've actually done a review of this one, so I'm going to leave a card up here. But this is one that I haven't worn in about a month or two, so I'm probably going to make this my scent of the day if I don't end up making my number 1 the scent of the day, because it's one that really impresses me in terms of its long-lasting citrus quality. The next one that I want to talk about is 21 Conduit Street by Jovoy. Now with this fragrance, it also has grapefruit in the opening, but it has a bit of a dirtier and more rugged vetiver note in the dry down, but it also has like this almond amaretto accord in there, which I think is so addictive. So for a citrus fragrance, you expect something very bright and oceanic and aquatic and fresh, and this one gave you a really interesting twist by adding that amaretto in there, while also having a vetiver that's a little bit on the rooty, earthy, and slightly dirty side, which I actually really like. 21 Conduit Street, such a unique summer fragrance, long-lasting citrus, also grapefruit. And this one will give you 8 hours of longevity easily, sometimes 9, on account of those earthy, vetiver, and woodsy touches that you'll find in the base. The next fragrance that I want to talk about, no stranger to my channel, probably no stranger to you. This one is Elysium by Roja Parfum, but this time I opted for the Parfum pour Homme concentration. So if you want something that is less volatile, I would say, probably not as good projection, but better longevity than the Parfum Cologne version, check this one out. They're both fantastic, and I do think that the differences are negligible, but if you're going for something that's a little more strongly concentrated, I would definitely recommend this one. And Roja Dove was kind enough to sign my bottle for me one of the times that I met him in person. Such a great individual, very down to earth, very humble, and you know, despite his popularity and his success in the industry, he still takes all the time in the world to talk to you, because you can just see the passion that he has for fragrances in his eyes. The next fragrance that I want to talk about is by Eccentric Molecules, and this is part of the M Plus collection composed by Geza Sean, and this is M Plus Mandarin. So this is basically Isoe Super, which is said to have this pheromone-like effect, kind of like the cedarwood vetiver note. I've actually interviewed Geza Schoen in like a 30-minute long interview. I'm going to leave a card to that up here too, where he goes in detail regarding a lot of the ingredients in there. And this one contains this really natural mandarin note, and it just smells so organic, so realistic. And with the mandarin having the spotlight in this fragrance, I kept thinking about it as I was wearing this fragrance. So like 2 hours into the longevity, 3 hours into the longevity, I'm smelling my hand and I'm like, yep, can still smell the mandarin, can still smell the mandarin. So there's something really special happening in this fragrance, very long lasting. And that brings us to my number 1 spot I tried this fragrance for the first time several years ago when it came out. Truth be told, it was on a scent strip, threw it away immediately. So I didn't really get a chance to try it on skin to see how it wore, how it was going to perform, how long it would last. This is honestly one of the fragrances that it has impressed me so much. I know it's probably not the freshest offering from this company. There's another one that has some salty aquatic tendencies. I'll talk about that too. But this one has a bergamot note that is incredibly long lasting. I was so surprised with this one. And this fragrance is none other than Bergamask by Orto Parisi. Now with Bergamask, you have a very simple note breakdown. You have musk and you have bergamot. So there isn't anything super complex happening in here, even though of course the perfumer Alessandro Gottieri is using much more than just musk and bergamot. I'm sure it has a lot of other ingredients that are not necessarily revealed in the note breakdown, which is something that Orto Parisi and Nasomato, the sister company, they don't do that. They don't list notes in a note breakdown because they want it to be open to interpretation. But I am getting this really natural bergamot in the opening, something along the lines of like a Xerjoff Neo. I know Gallagher Parfum, or Gallagher Fragrances rather, also has a bergamot offering, which I think is really, really good. But this one, like 3, 4, 5 hours into the longevity, I'm smelling it and I get that bright, fresh, citrusy quality from the bergamot. And I'm like, what's doing that in here? And so whenever you find a citrus fragrance that lasts hours and hours and hours, it's really, really impressive. And I can tell you, I'm certainly impressed by it. I love wearing these fragrances as citrus-based offerings for the summertime. And all of these have a citrus note in them that is incredibly long-lasting. You'll be able to smell the citrus. If citrus is your thing, then definitely check these out. Oh, and by the way, the other oceanic type fragrance that I was referring to from Orto Parisi is called Mega Mare. I said that I was going to mention it in the review. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you took something of value from this video. These have been my top 10 longest lasting citrus fragrances that are also happen to be available at Scentsplit.com. If you are interested in purchasing or sampling or even just like reading the description and learning more about any of these fragrances, you may do so by following the links down below. I have them all numbered for your convenience. Thank you so much for watching. If you took something of value from this video, I would really appreciate it if you would consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. And of course, if you can give this video a thumbs up if you like this video, it would mean a lot to me as well. Thanks again for watching. Love you all. We'll see you soon. Bye.